Let's continue based on Hashem, the Sugya on Tefillah. Today we start with a brand new Gemara, the Gemara in Brachos Daf Ches. The Gemara tells us the Gavaldik Yesod Rabbi Yisai for today's halacha share on Hilchos Tefillah. And that is, by the way, I did not expect to get such good feedback from the Olam. Getting emails from the Olam saying, oh, we're really enjoying the series on Hilchos Tefillah. I thought okay, Hilchos Tefillah, when's it over? That's the next topic. But Baruch Hashem, the Olam are enjoying Hilchos Tefillah. Listen to this Gemara Rabbi Yisai, Gemara Brachos Daf Ches, Amud Aleph. Ma'idich Sib. What does it mean when it says, I'm all familiar with this pasuk, Va'anit vilasi lecha Hashem eis ratzain. Ask the Gemara Akasha Yitzi. When is the eis ratzon? When is this special time in Shamayim that we all can utilize to our benefit, Azi? The answer the Gemara says, very simple, I quote the Lashon HaGemara, B'shah she'atzibur mispalelin. At the time that the tzibur are davening, that is a special eis ratzon. When a person davens b'shas hatfila, b'shas hatzibur are davening, special eis ratzon. So we have two things. We have you davening, which is tremendous koyach. Person's koyach hatfila is unbelievable, it's unreal, it's unmatched, it's amazing. But then we have even higher than that. We have, if you daven b'tzibur with the olam, which we will define halachic parameters of what that means in a minute, you get the most unbelievable power that literally can change the world at any time. In fact, there's a modik yisod v'shosh v'avoda. He brings, by the way, a Zohar Kodesh as he normally does. This is in Parshas Vayishlach. The yisod v'shosh v'avoda brings down that when a person davens alone, he davens by himself, without a tzibur, not with a minyan. So the malachim collect his tefillahs. That's amazing, right? That's great. But then the Zohar continues and says that when a person davens with a minyan, the Rabbeinu Shalom collects his tefillahs. Now, who do you prefer to collect your tefillahs for the things that you daven for in your life that you need? The Rabbeinu Shalom, or the malachim. Now, they're both good, right? But you can understand, as the Zohar Kodesh tells us, Yisrael V'Shosh Avodah brings up Mishabur also, that a person, when he davens b'tzibur, his tefillah is on a totally different level. Now again, we have to understand, what does it mean, davening b'tzibur? People think, by the way, people think that when you walk into a shul that's davening, I daven with a minyan today. No, you didn't. We'll have to define what that means. Walking into the Beis Medrash, into a shul that the minyan are davening, doesn't mean you davened with a minyan. It doesn't mean you daven with the tzibur. It means you happen to be in the same building or room as the minyan. It doesn't mean you davened with the minyan. So we have to understand, what does it mean to daven with a minyan? Okay? The Ramban, it's a Modika Ramban on Shir HaShirim, the Ramban says that when a person davens with a minyan, his tefillahs are answered by the Rabbeinu Shalom even if he didn't concentrate on them. So I don't know about you guys, but it is hard sometimes, Matis, to concentrate on every word of davening. It's hard sometimes. I speak for myself. Maybe you guys are like, I don't know what the problem is. But for some people, it is quite hard to concentrate on every single word. But I want my tefillah to be answered. Svidov, what do? Daven with a minyan, boom. Daven with a minyan, zuk the Ramban. It goes up even if you did not have kavan. The Heiliger Belz Zeruv, Rabbi Rebels, said a Mordechai Zach one time. He said, forget about the fact that it's an Aveira, maybe not to daven b'minyan. Okay, that we'll talk to maybe Allah and Amaisa. But he says, push it a chutzpah. So the Heiliger Belz Rebbe, it's a chutzpah. Why is it a chutzpah? So he says, he gives a mashal. A poor guy needs a loan. He's desperate for money. He's making a chasana. He needs money. So he wants to ask the rich man for a loan. Do you have to make a chasana? So he calls up the wealthy guy. He says, listen, do me a favor. Could you come to my house, please? The wealthy guy's a chutzpah. You want the loan from me? I gotta come to your house? So here we are. Rabbi Yisai, we need something from the Rabbeinu Shalom. So what do you say? Rabbi Shalom, come to my house. I'm not gonna come to your shul. I'm not gonna come to your mokoim. No, come to me. So the Belz Rebbe, that's a chutzpah, Rabbi Yisai. Okay? So we have tremendous things over here going on about a minyan. Why? What's the gadlus of davening with the minyan? So there's a Mordechai Mabit. The Mabit brings down three reasons really why it is that davening with a minyan is way higher than davening by yourself. Again, I want to be clear. Davening by yourself is beautiful, it's amazing, it's unbelievable, and you should do it. But just remember that in Madrigas, there's davening by yourself, and then above that is davening with a minyan, which is way more. The Mabit gives three reasons. He says, number one, that when you have a minyan, you could say Dvam Shebekdusha. You could say Baruch Hu, you could say Kaddish, Kedusha. You can't do that if you're davening by yourself. Why? And the reason for that is, only when 10 men stand together is when you have the Shekhinah standing over there. And that's listening to all the tefillahs. that's reason number one, says the Mabit. Reason number two, he says, is that we always know, B'roiv Am Hadras Melech, a mitzvah that's done, B'roiv Am, with the Olam, carries more weight. Just like if you want to carry something heavy, it's very difficult to carry it by yourself or even with somebody else. But when you have a bunch of people together, you can carry heavier things, which means if your tefillahs have more meaning, they'll be able to carry a heavier weight when they are together with the tzibur. That's the second reason the Mabit says. And the third reason is what we said before, which is that when you don't concentrate on your tefillahs, so it's very likely that it won't be accepted. But if you daven with the tzibur, it's basically guaranteed that it will be accepted. Aaron Gedalia. This is a direct pshat to get all your tefillahs answered by davening with the tzibur. That's unbelievable. This is an amazing scholar, Rabbi Say, to have all your tefillahs answered in that case. So the Shlah Kodesh, by the way, asked, the Kaf HaChaim brings it in a Rechaim Simon Tzadi Sikot Nun Tes. The Shlah Kodesh wants to know, I don't understand. If it's true that Chazal tell us that my tefillahs are answered when I daven the tzibur, so then haven't we been davening for many, many years for Mashiach to come? Haven't we been davening for the Geula? No. Where's the Geula? If we're davening b'tzibur, we're davening T'kabel Shoiva Godel L'Chei Seni. We're davening every single day, 3 times a day b'tzibur. Why is it not being answered? Not by Kasha, Rabbi Say. The Shlah Kodesh, the Heilige Shlah Kodesh, asked the Kasha, and he answers a few reasons, but I don't want to go too much into detail because it's really halacha shit, so I really want to get into some of the halachas. He says, number one, that Avad the Rabbeinu Shalom is Mekayim and fulfills every tefillah in some way. Which means that when we daven for the Geula, it doesn't only mean the complete Geula, which we're all waiting for, the Geula Shlema, which we daven for and we expect and we're waiting for every single moment, but it means in a small way there's a personal salvation that a person has that's also a type of Geula. And the Rabbeinu Shalom is Mekayim in that way. The other pshat that the Shlah Kodesh says is that he explains the second reason also is that sometimes the Rabban Shalom says not now, right? You have a parent, for example, the child is asking for something, right? He's asking for a new car, he's asking for a vacation, he's asking for some candy, whatever it is that he's asking for, right? So sometimes the parent says, no problem, but not right now. I'll give it to you. Just now's not the time. So said the Shlah Kodesh, the Rabban Shalom Avada is niskabel. He's accepting our tefillahs. The tefillahs b'tzibur are being accepted. It's just not going to be right now. So therefore they accept it. Just the time right now is not the right timing for that. Let's get to some of the halachas of Tefillah B'tzibur, because of course, that's of course what we're trying to do over here. Now just remember that of course the chiv to daven is a shaila, we spoke about it previously, Daraisa, the Rabbanon, depending Eis Rotzon or not, however, davening B'tzibur L'kulei Alma is a D'Rabbanan, there is no shaila whatsoever. I will tell you that many Achronim bring down that the entire idea of the takana of davening tefillah b'tzibur was only after the Churban Beis HaMikdash, because when there was a Beis HaMikdash, since the Shechina was always found in Klal Yisrael, Mimela, everyone would just daven their own words in private, and that would be gavaldik. However, after the Churban Beis HaMikdash, the Anshe Knesset Gdola understood that they needed to not only institute a text, specifically a script for davening, but also that davening should davka take place b'tzibur in that case. That's what the Mabit brings this down, many other Achronim as well. The idea of davening b'tzibur is after Churban Beis HaMikdash. Now, by the way, there's a murder kasha. Everybody asked the kasha. I'll read you the Lashon of Shulchan Aruch, right? Simon Tzadi, Sif Tes, Yishtadel Odom Lisbalel Bebeis HaKnesses Im HaTzibur. That sounds like, if you art scroll the Shulchan Aruch, that sounds like one should try. I think that would be a good translation of Yishtadel. One should try, strive for, one should try, whatever, to daven in a shul with the tzibur. I only have to try. It's not a chiyuv. It doesn't say Shulchan Aruch chayiv odom lispalel im hatzibur. So what's going on? So Rabbi say 2 tshuvas were written specifically on this halacha. One is in Igros Moshe, Heilige Rav Moshe Weinstein. Rav Moshe writes in Igros Moshe Rechaim Chayil Beis Simon Chav Zayin that when he says the word Yishtadel, that was going specifically on the davening in the shul. But davening with the tzibur, that's a vader chiyuv. There's also a Dayan Weiss in Minchas Yitzchak Chelik Zayin Simon Vav that he wants to say that it's talking about traveling. You don't have to travel so far. Right? That's what it is to daven in a Beis HaKnesses. But Minyan, Avada you have to do. There's no shaila whatsoever. So what are the levels of davening Tefillah B'tzibur halacha l'maisa? We said before that just because you walk in shul when the oilam is davening doesn't mean you daven B'tzibur today. Doesn't mean you daven with the Minyan. Could be you daven by yourself in the shul where the oilam are davening. So what are the halachic parameters of what it means and what it's considered to be davening B'tzibur, Rabbi Say? So we've got different levels over here with different levels of, from the best all the way down. So we'll start like this, right? Hayodom says very clearly that davening b'tzibur means that you have starting Shemona Esrei together. So if you are late, hurry up. Skip things. We spoke about that previously, right? Tefillah b'tzibur means the highest level is davening together Shemona Esrei, starting Shemona Esrei with the tzibur. The Chatchila 10, Mishabur said b'shas Adchat, maybe you could do 6, whatever it may be. But Al Kaponim, they all have to be starting together. That's how it is to be considered to be Tefillah b'tzibur. And if you daven with them together, you're Tefillah b'tzibur. That means according to that, if you miss that and you start a minute late, you did not daven Tefillah b'tzibur today. You did not daven with a minyan today. Yes, you daven at the same time as the minyan, but unless you didn't daven with a minyan, you don't have the gavaldic miles of davening with the tzibur, which we spoke about, which is so gavaldic, which a person should try to do. Other people say, lav dafka, as long as the olim are still holding by the first bracha of Shemona Esrei, you're still yaitza, which means according to that, if I miss it by a couple of seconds, maybe I'm still going to be yaitza in that case. According to some, as long as someone's still davening Shemona Esrei that started at the right time and I start together with him, I'm still yaitza, tefillah b'tzibur. In that case, of course, we're going down in the levels of what should be done in that case. That's what it is. And Rabbi Shir writes this also, it's very hard for each person to be davening exactly the same time, so it's very hard to start exactly the same time and say word for word. So it means around the same time that the olim are starting, that is what it is. There are those that say that if, right, the Stipler Chazanish, the Stipler Rabbeinu bring that if a person missed it, whatever it is, then maybe if he davens together with the Shliach Tzibur, word for word, by the way, it means the whole Shemona Esrei, not just the first few brachas, the whole Shemona Esrei, word for word, with the Shliach Tzibur, so there is a shita that holds that could be shliach, that could be considered to be tefillah b'tzibur in that case. The Chassam Sofer brings that as well in that case, even though the Ma'aser of Moshe argues with that, and he says that davening together at the same time as the chazan is not considered to be tefillah b'tzibur, because the Ma'aser tefillah b'tzibur means the tzibur, not the shliach tzibur, and the tzibur not davening anymore. How do you consider that to be tefillah b'tzibur in that case over there? The Chazanish wants to bring down that even though davening with the chazan is not really tefillah b'tzibur, but the Ma'aser has a mila. So at least if you have nothing, at least you have something in that case over there. The other question as well, Rabbi say, is what happens if you're in a separate room. Sometimes people daven in a separate room, daven in Ezra's Noshim, for example. Sometimes there's separate rooms. I don't want to daven in the room itself, I'll daven in a separate room. Is that considered to be Tefillah b'tzibur or not? The Rashba, by the way, is Madamrit to the din of Zimun after eating bread in that case. Whether or not a person should be in the same room. If you don't have a minyan in one room, if you've got 5 in the other room and 5 in this room, for sure that's not Tefillah b'tzibur, that's not a minyan. Whereas if you have 10 in one room and you're in the Ezra's Noshim, there's a shayla in the posuk, the Mishnah Berurah says better not to be in the Ezra's Noshim, but it could be that there's a minyan in one room and you're mitzvah to that, and you can see them, then there's a mokum to be makel, for sure, b'shas adchat, over there, to consider that to be tefillah b'tzibur. Traveling, by the way, big shayla in the poskim, should a person go away on vacation if there is no minyan? The poskim coming down, unless you're going away for purposes of, for example, health purposes, or you're going away for business purposes, or any other mitzvah that could be with a consultation of a local Orthodox rabbi. Could be there is a heter for a person to go away without a minyan. Otherwise, try not to plan your trips without going to a minyan. I remember a Yid calls me up one time, he's in Elat, he wants to know about the kettle. Can he use the kettle? Is there a shayla? Maybe a goy came in there, or maybe a Friar Yid, Rahman al-Islam, cooked something in there that was not kosher. He's right. I said, one second. You didn't call me to find out if you should go to a place without a minyan. You didn't call me to find the kashrus of all the other restaurants over there. You didn't call me about the preachers. That's all fine. Oh, but the kettle bothers you, that it has water over there, which is anywhere, which means what the rice is fine anyway. That's what, I didn't tell him that. I'm telling you that. I didn't tell him that. I was nice to him on the phone, don't worry. And Hanami, at least he got that. I'm telling you, so you should know how to, as Rav Sheinberg, you always heard it. I always say, Rav Sheinberg, the Rashiv Rav Sheinberg always used to say, I didn't understand it, he said. People used to come to him with the spoon, right? They're busy with the spoon. This is a Ben Yomi spoon, it's an En Ben Yomi spoon. It went into the milk shakes, went into the fly shakes. The guy's spending 20 minutes on the spoon. It costs 20 agarot to buy a new spoon. What are you so busy with the spoon? But when he has a shayla in chinuch habonim, when he has a shayla of moving back to chutzah, this he decides on his own. The 20 agarot spoon, he's busy consulting backwards and forwards. Yeah, no. Oh, but the big shayla is that he decides on his own. All right, whatever. No shayla, not for now, Rabbi say. When it comes to traveling, by the way, A person should not travel unless there's a minyan avada. However, if you find yourself in a place without a minyan, then the halacha is you're not required to travel more than 18 minutes, or 36 each way, backwards and forwards, out of your way to find a minyan. The person is not mechuyev to spend money. By the way, there's a murdiga Chacham Tzvi. The Chacham Tzvi has a tshuva. If a person is allowed, this could be negated to anyone over here, if a person is allowed to use Sefer Yetzirah to create a golem to be able to complete the minyan. So you have 9 guys, you open up Sefer Yetzirah, and you open up and you make yourself a golem. You make yourself an extra person to be able to daven with the minyan. So that's what the Chacham Tzvi discusses, is whether a golem is allowed to be part of a minyan. Right? Some of the poskim say, in fact, if you wait 13 years for him to become bar mitzvah, could be there's a mokim to say that you can include him, but if you don't, then he's not bar mitzvah yet, in which case, avada, it will not be nageya. Rabbi said 2 maisas about minyan. This is true maisa, this one. There was a guy who was makbid on minyan, because Baruch Hashem people go, by the way, to Rabbi Gamir Rabinovich Shlita. Wow, he's very, very makbid on minyan. He tells the olam daven with the minyan of Allah brachas in the ganze Welt. So there was a yid that was makabel on himself, always to daven with the minyan. He never missed a minyan. He was makbid, and I've met people around the world on planes and all sorts of things. By the way, planes is a big shaila. Should you daven with the minyan? Should you not daven with the minyan? I'm not going into the shaila, kiddush Hashem, chilul Hashem, whatever it is. But by the way, I will tell you that poskim say that the plane is considered to be one thing, which means if they're making a minyan over there and you're not comfortable, blocking the aisles, and maybe there's, women over there with not covered hair and all sorts of shaylas and seminar involved, whatever it may be. So then what do? You can daven in your seat, and you're still considered to be tefillah b'tzibur because it's considered to be one, and you're standing up, sitting down, I don't know, we'll talk about it maybe a different time, but I'll upon him, that's the guy traveling. So people are very makbid daven with the minyan, and makbid never to miss a minyan. So this guy arrives in Eretz Yisrael, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. So he goes to one of the local shtiblock that he thought, maybe they have a minyan over there. 2 o'clock in the morning, it was a little bit schwach. They're like 2 guys hanging around. What's he meant to do now? So what he did was the following. This is a Ma'aser Shoya. He called up the taxi company and he said, I need 7 taxis right now. 2 guys saying, me, okay, I need 7. Send 7 taxis. So 7 taxis coming, expecting to find, Kenai Nahora, a bunch of people waiting to get in a taxi. And it's like, I want you, put it on the meter. I'm paying. Put it on the meter. Come inside the shul and make sure that you come inside for a minyan. And the old journey was Mazaka them with the Mariv, which is also Gavaldik, but he also made sure he didn't miss on a minyan. And one last story, it's a Ma'aser Shoya by Boisai. Ma'aser Shoya. A guy was in a baseball game. I don't know, Muta also, I'm not getting involved, Moshe Leitzim with Moshe. I don't know anything about baseball games, even though I've been to some. But I'll upon him, I will tell you, a guy was in a baseball game and he needed a minyan for mincha. Now he doesn't know what to do. Now he knows they're for sure yidden around. Right? They have a baseball cap on, so you never know that they're Jewish. How would you know they're Jewish? They have a baseball cap on, right? So therefore, he needs a minyan for mincha. What's he going to do? Rabbi said, genius idea. He goes to the lost and found. And he says, if I lost something, what do I do? How do I find it? They said, well, you tell us what it is. We will announce it on the main loudspeaker that whoever finds it, please come back. So he said, no problem. I lost my mincha. Okay, sure. Mincha, come to lost and found. All of a sudden, 8 men start piling in, and he gets a minyan for mincha, Rabbi Sai. Rabbi Sai, davening with a minyan is a gewaltige Zach. We should all be Zaycha b'siyata d'shmaya. All our tefillahs will be answered. Have an amazing day. Amen.